What's going on there, YouTube? And welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we're going to jump back over to Marvel Comics and continue our coverage over the Dark Avengers, and we pick up with Volume 2. Now, this is a very special storyline because it is the Dark Avengers fighting against Owen Reece. That is a very important character. Who is Owen Reece? Well, you will learn in this video today who that character is and why he is so important in Marvel Comics. But if you do like today's comic book video, please hit that like button down below. And also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's video. So before we dive into the whole Molecule Man versus Dark Avengers storyline, we actually pick up on this one-shot story that I wanted to cover. It is basically Ares finding out what his son has been doing while Ares is with the Dark Avengers. So the book begins with Victoria Hand checking up on Norman Osborn. If you remember in our last video, he has shown signs that the Green Goblin was returning. So with that being said, he has locked himself in his room and is not talking to anyone. Now let you know, this picks up after X-Men Utopia, where Dark Avengers had a run-in with the X-Men. The reason why I'm mentioning this now is because we pick up with Ares and his son Phobos at their home, where Phobos sees his father and the Dark Avengers on the television, how they have battled the X-Men, and you have Phobos actually questioning his father about the Dark Avengers. To them, did they do the right thing? Also, how does Ares know that what Norman Osborn is doing is the right thing? Now to Ares, he is one of those parents who believes that parents should not have to explain themselves. So he just says because he knows. Then he tells Phobos it is time for him to go to school. If you remember in our last video, Ares found out that his son Phobos was skipping school, and Ares wants to know where his son has been going. So we see that after Ares left their home, Phobos thought he was in the clear. He meets up with Daisy Johnson, aka Quake. At this point, Quake and Phobos both are working for Nick Fury's Secret Warriors team. This team put together to kind of stop what Norman Osborn was trying to do. So you have Quake and Phobos thinking that no one is following them. But of course, Ares is following them to see what his son is up to. So of course, this leads into the moment you have Quake and Phobos meeting up with Nick Fury and the rest of the Secret Warriors, where at first this seems like a usual meeting in their top secret base, except that is when Nick Fury and the Secret Warriors find out that Ares is here. He literally breaks through the entrance because this man wants to know what his son is doing with Nick Fury. Since you have Norman Osborn kind of painting Nick Fury and anything with S.H.I.E.L.D. to be obsolete and also bad. So now it is time for Nick Fury to explain why Ares' son is here. Now honestly, this was more of your usual conversation between characters, where Nick Fury tells him that what he is doing with his son is trying to get him ready, that his son has potential to be a powerhouse of a character. That is when Ares chimes in and says he does not know how to raise his son, that he wants to raise his son differently than how he was raised. So basically, it is going to be him letting Nick Fury take over on how to raise the son of Ares. Also, you have Phobos kind of interject that he is tired of seeing the world all messed up. and wants to make it better. So that is it for Ares' problem. Getting back to Avengers Tower, we see that the Dark Avengers are having their usual meeting in the tower, making it seem like nothing else is wrong with the team. Except upstairs, we see Sentry walking into his home where he is greeted by his wife, who is scared of him because of how powerful he is. To her, she thinks that he is keeping her locked up in their home on top of Dark Avengers Tower. She wants to be free, and she is scared of how powerful he is. So you have her actually end up shooting him right in the face, making us think that the Sentry is dead. Of course, he is not. Now we can finally get into the big story you guys want to see, the Dark Avengers versus the Molecule Man, where we pick up with two young ladies arriving at a diner. Seems like one is going through a breakup. That does not matter at all. What really matters is when they arrive at this diner. Everything seems to be strange. When one of the girls goes to the bathroom and the other one orders a coffee, the two men at the counter try to warn the girl at the counter to leave, except it is too late. As we can see, the men turn into stone or dust. We see the lady in the bathroom go through some kind of stuff as well. Finally, we get to see the outside part of the diner, where the two young ladies' car begins to disappear, letting us know something is going on around here. We then pick up with the Dark Avengers, where we see Ares taking down Man-Thing. Honestly, this is not important. It is a cool scene to see Ares cut Man-Thing in half, but also we see the medication they gave Matt Gargan to control his Venom suit is affecting him differently, where he actually starts to care for others to the point it makes everyone wonder if he can do the job. Also, you have the Dark Avengers wonder where their fearless leader is at. This continues when the Dark Avengers arrive back to their tower, when you have Moonstone, who is pretending to be Captain Marvel on this team, ask the question again, where is Norman Osborn? Why is he locked up in his room? Hawkeye gives us a brief moment to let us know that he and Moonstone will be doing some after work activities, but you didn't have Dakin speak up and let us know that with his mutant power, he can tell Victoria Hand is lying when she said Norman Osborn is busy, which of course starts an argument between the two of them. Except that is when you have Norman Osborn walk in and make it seem like everything is okay now, which of course it is not. But you have him bring up the incident that happened with the two young ladies at the diner earlier, explaining one of them is the daughter of a certain person that works for the president, meaning that he is Norman Osborn's boss. So they have to investigate what happened to the young ladies, especially when it is told that there were other reports of people missing. So you have Norman Osborn basically sent in the Sentry to go investigate the situation, which shows us that the Sentry is okay now after being shot by his wife earlier. Now you have the Dark Avengers watching the Sentry on their computer screen to see what is going to happen. When he first arrived, of course, there was no one there, which makes the Sentry begin to freak out. This is where things begin to get crazy, because after he gets there, his body begins to glow. He begins to feel some kind of pain inside of him, and the question is, what is happening to the Sentry? Except before we can learn what happens to the Sentry explodes, which of course makes Norman Osborn call for his Avengers to assemble quickly. Now, when Norman Osborn yelled out for the Dark Avengers to assemble, he did not just mean the Dark Avengers, he also meant a ton of Hammer agents to help him out as well, because if something happens to the Sentry, they are going to need all hands on deck. Except that is when you have some of the Dark Avengers begin to disappear. The main one, of course, being Norman Osborn. In a matter of seconds, he is no longer with his Dark Avengers nor with his Hammer agents. Now, he is now in the presence of Owen Reese, the Molecule Man. We then get this random flashback for Victoria Hand to learn more about her and how she was demoted in S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, maybe more of lost her job at S.H.I.E.L.D. because she tells her girlfriend that she wrote Nick Fury a letter. In her letter, it is going to explain how she truly feels about Nick Fury and how he is not doing a great job running S.H.I.E.L.D. and leading the world to world peace. The girlfriend says don't do it. Of course, Victoria Hand doesn't listen and she gives the letter over to Nick Fury. Basically, she got demoted and moved to Washington, D.C. The reason why we got that brief moment of Victoria Hand pass is because she is going to be the star of this book. She is going to be the one to help the Dark Avengers being able to stop Owen Reese. Not in the best way, but it works. You will see down the road here in a minute. Now this is where we finally jump back over to Owen Reese and Norman Osborn and their conversation. We see there are some other powerhouses around Owen Reese, except these guys are not really there. Owen Reese has the ability to control the molecules around him, which basically means he can bend reality to his liking. Like right now, he tells Norman Osborn that the reason why he has been hiding in this town and has been taking people away is because he grew up here. He is trying to protect his home. Now, Owen Reese says he is not here to kill Norman Osborn, but to show how powerful he is. That killing is easy for him, so then we see him do some crazy stuff to Norman Osborn. The world around him alters. Norman Osborn is in a Spider-Man outfit and he is confronted by Gwen Stacy. Remember, in that horrible Spider-Man storyline, Norman Osborn got Gwen Stacy pregnant. Then he is tossed off the bridge, the same bridge he and Spider-Man fought on, where Gwen Stacy died on. To continue to show how powerful Owen Reese truly is, he is then surrounded by some of the old Avengers and some of the Dark Avengers as well. They all begin to attack him, and just to show how crazy powerful Owen Reese truly is. We then see Victoria Hand and some of the Hammer agents freaking out because they are wondering what they should do. This lets us see Victoria Hand to be the calm one and try to think of a plan. Then we see the Sentry. We see how he is handling the powers of Owen Reese, where you have Owen Reese basically just tear this man apart. Where at first you would think that this is Brian Michael Bendis telling us how powerful Owen Reese is and he is more powerful than the Sentry. Except that is not the case for the story down the road. You will see what I mean here in a minute. But at this point, we see the Sentry get torn apart actually. We then get a page for each Dark Avenger to show us what Owen Reese is doing to each of them. For Venom, he turns Venom into a pile of goop that he can easily walk over. He turned Moonstone into a stone. She does break out of it, but he quickly shuts that down. For Daken, the Dark Wolverine, Owen Reese is turning him into some kind of plant thing. Daken's healing factor is fighting it, but of course having a hard time. For Ares, he's just turned into a stone as well. The Dark Avengers truly don't stand a chance against Owen Reese. Now I forgot to mention Bullseye, who was going around pretending to be the Hawkeye on the team. Well, he was turned into a puddle of water. But right after we see what happened to him, that is when you have Victoria Hand come out and ask to talk to Owen Reese to see if she can be the one to free the Dark Avengers. We then get a glimpse to see that Norman Osborn is still being tortured by Owen Reese, and he is using Spider-Man. Of course, Spider-Man being the worst enemy of Norman Osborn. So Norman Osborn is really going through a lot at the moment, but kind of deserves it. Getting back to Victoria Hand, we see her trying to reason with Owen Reese that what he is doing is wrong. With 44 people missing and the Dark Avengers, she tries to play the family and friends card, saying that basically these people's family and friends missed them, and that should be a good reason to let these people go. Also the fact that she tells Owen Reese that Hammer and the Dark Avengers will actually leave and they will not attack him at all. Now Owen Reese has these other people around him that represent powerful people in Marvel Comics who are not truly there, but right now they kind of represent the angel and demon on his shoulder, trying to give him ideas on what to do with Victoria Hand. Then we pick up with the Sentry. Remember what I said earlier, that the Sentry at first seemed like he was no match for Owen Reese, except the Sentry is the scapegoat for Brian Michael Bendis, because this is Brian Michael Bendis telling us the Sentry is actually more powerful than Owen Reese. This leads into the Sentry making his appearance to show Owen Reese how powerful he truly is, because to Owen Reese, no one can beat him because he is able to control reality around him. Except for the Sentry, he is on another power level because the Sentry is hiding the Void. Remember, the Void is this dark being locked inside the Sentry. If the Void is ever to get out, well, basically it will be the end of the Marvel Universe. Except this is the Void and the Sentry kind of working together in a way, but more of the Void still in control of the body of the Sentry, where you have Owen Reese think he can still turn this around because of his powers, and you have the Sentry and the Void show how powerful they are and get rid of Owen Reese. Just like that, with him being gone, the Dark Avengers and everyone who was taken away has come back. Here comes the big thing that will lead into Marvel's Siege, which we had already covered. After the Sentry had defeated Owen Reese, you have the Dark Avengers show their fear when it comes to the Sentry, because you have the Sentry show us that he can control reality around him at the same level, maybe even higher than Owen Reese. This was Brian Michael Bendis showing us that the Sentry was the new it factor in the Marvel Universe, the most powerful character in the universe. And you have all of the Dark Avengers leave, but before they leave, you have Moonstone, who is again pretending to be the Captain Marvel of the team to express her feelings, telling us that what the Scarlet Witch did back in the House of M event was nothing compared to what the Sentry can do. So the Dark Avengers should be very scared, and this is where we are going to end today's video. So please hit that like button down below, and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's video.